Hi, this is Mr. Drain from Fulford School. This video is aimed at my Year 12 computer science students who recently voted for some extra help with exception handling in console.NET application and programming with C#. So this video is hopefully going to tell you how you can write programs that are robust, that aren't going to crash, even if the user types in stupid or malicious data. So the starting point for this program, you can access all of the code via GitHub. There should be a link alongside this video. The program code that we'll use to begin with just has a C#.NET framework console application with some comments in. I'm going to go through the first two challenges in this video, and then the next two challenges are pretty much the same kind of thing, but just as a challenge for you to work through on your own. So in the video, I'm going to make it so that the user is asked to enter their age, and even if they type in something that's not numeric, like they type in potato years old, it shouldn't crash. And then building on that, we want to keep looping round, use iteration to keep looping round until they type in something valid. And then your own challenge is to do the same kind of thing, but with a credit card number. Please don't use real credit card numbers, especially if you're screencasting to YouTube. It's not a good idea. Okay, so I've got that code in Visual Studio here. We're going to start with 1A, which asks the program, create a program that asks the user to type in their age. So if we ask the question, let's use console.write, please enter your name. And then I'm using write instead of .writeLine so that the user can just enter their name onto the same line on here when they run it. I'm pressing Control F5 to run it. So console.readLine so that the user can type something in, and then string age equals. Here we go. So this isn't going to crash. String. This will let them type in their name, but it would be much better if I followed the instructions for age. Here I can type in age, 80, it's how old I feel today, and it doesn't crash if you put some text in because it's storing it as a string. But then you can't do anything useful with it, like is age greater than 0 or is age less than 150 or something like that. To do that, we have to store it as an integer. We'll get a syntax error at this point because readLine expects to return a string. So we could do int.parse and try and convert this return value to an integer and store that into age, which will work as in the program runs, no syntax errors. But if we type in something non-numeric, it's going to crash. We get that exception. So this is where we need exception handling. We need to be able to cope without crashing. So in C#, we use try and catch. Try means you know something might occasionally fail, so you put the thing that might go wrong between the curly brackets. But if it does go wrong, you just say what to do. So catch, and then console.writeLine didn't enter your age, semicolon. Let's see. So this time, if we type in something that's not numeric, it doesn't crash and it gives us a sensible error message. This is much better. Good. So that is 1A sorted. You do have to be careful though, because if you then use this variable later in your program, for example, console.writeLine, you are, and then however many years old, notice it didn't like me typing in age because that variable is not defined at this point in the program. The name age does not exist in the current context. Well, it does exist, it exists here, but because we've got these scope brackets, these curly braces, these mustache brackets, whatever you want to call them, that means we've made a new scope, a new place to store variables. And as soon as we close that scope, as soon as we get after line 16, then we can't access that variable anymore. To fix that, we just need to declare the variable, as in tell C# that it exists, outside of that scope. So that means that we don't want to declare it again. We declare it once, and then we assign the value in this scope, but that means that we can access it and use it anywhere else in this scope as well. So hopefully now if we type in a valid age, you're 55 years old, I'm not 55 by the way, or if you type in something dodgy, invalid, then we get that default value that we've set up here. Okay, so that is 1A all sorted. If we want to add something that keeps asking until we get a sensible value, then we're just going to put some iteration in there as well. So we want to keep asking until we get a valid age. So I'm going to say, let's declare the age first. So we assume it's 0. And then we can say while age is less than 0, which is going to be invalid, we want between 0 and 150, or age is greater than 150. So this double pipe, you get that with Shift and the button to the left of Z if you've got a UK keyboard. You have to be careful between a bitwise OR and a logical OR. We want to say if either this is true, or logically OR if this is true. Then we want to keep doing this. So whilst it's less than 0 or more than 150, we ask the question. And then if we get something valid, then hopefully outside of the loop, we can say what the age is. Let's try it. So if we type in something, oh, you are 0 years old, because that is valid. So I'll have to put something invalid in as a default. So I'll say I'm -1 by default. Please enter your age. -67. Please enter your age again. 167. Please enter your age. Bob, you didn't enter your age because that's detected the invalid input. We caught the exception and displayed the error message. Let's do something just on the edge. Good, it says we're 0 years old. So the important thing here is just using your iteration, a while loop. If you find this too difficult to understand, then just add in an extra level. So let's say a Boolean value to say valid. So we'll say we have an invalid value to begin with. Valid is false. And whilst valid is false, or better, whilst it's not valid, then we keep looping round. If you do it this way, though, you're going to have to put your own valid, those if statements in elsewhere. So if age, go away, if age is greater than or equal to 0 and age is less than or equal to 150, then valid is equal to true. So I quite like a while loop because it puts that conditional logic right up here, but you might find this easier to work with. Either way is perfectly fine. Let's just test it to see if we've got it right. Enter your age -6, 156, 150. Great, it works. So your challenge is to do the same sort of thing. Ask a question so that the user types in something. Use exception handling, so try and catch if the user doesn't put in a sensible value, so it has to be a 16-digit integer. And if they don't type in something sensible, then you just got to keep looping round. So it's a bit of practice on exception handling and some validation in there too. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Remember, you can find a link to the starting point here, and let me know if you need the working code as well, and I can share that as well. All the best, and do vote on what support video you'd like for next week. Bye-bye.